Hi, and welcome to this week's Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. And on today's episode, we have Pohai head basketball coach Alan Hibler. Coach Hibler with us in our first segment. And then coming up, the head wrestling coach Jason Levitt will be with us. It's all about Pohai athletics, and this is Coach's Corner. And Coach Hibler, thank you for being our guest.
Well, thanks for having me. I always appreciate coming down here and getting to see everybody down here. I don't get down here very often.
Yeah, well, early in the season, the Pohai basketball team looking forward to a big season. You've had about 8 practices or so far. With the entire team. You've had more practices than that.
Yeah.
I know it's very important that you're waiting for athletes to get done with football. Now that you have them all together, you've had some good practices. How are you ready for the season?
Well, we've been looking forward to getting everybody for a long time. As a basketball coach, it always seems football season just drags on forever when you start practice on October 1st, and a lot of them are still playing football. But, we finally got them all in the gym. We've still got some that are battling some injuries and things from football, so we still don't have every one of them right now. But, we're 8 practices in, as you said. We've had some great practices. We've got a long ways to go until we're ready, but thankfully this year we have time. We don't open up until later, so we're going to get some good practices in as we move forward and things. And a lot of it's review. We've got a lot of returners from last year's team that played a lot of valuable minutes and give us a lot of experience. So it makes the transition pretty smooth as they're coming in. We can just start reviewing and then teaching and adding the new things that we're going to add, the new wrinkles we're going to add this year. But, when you have a bunch of kids coming back, like we're returning 6, so 6 seniors. So when you have a bunch of kids coming back like that, it makes the learning curve go a little faster because, that they've been there and been through it for a couple of years.
How important is that experience and that leadership with those 6 seniors coming back? How important is that for your younger athletes?
Well, it's really important because, we don't have our 8th graders and 9th graders in practice with us throughout the school year. They're at different locations, and we don't get to spend any time in practice with them and things because they're coached by different people. So, when they come in, it's important for those seniors to kind of take the leadership reins and walk those young kids through what we're trying to accomplish. One of the things we always try to tell our kids is it's your basketball team. You guys need to be the leaders of it. You guys need to do most of the talking and everything. And, we're there to teach and guide, but then once they start playing on the floor, the coach can't be out there with them, so that leadership falls upon those kids that have been through the program. And we've got a really good group of seniors. As you said, we have 6 of them. We have a young man named Trevor Howie who came to us from football. He's been on the basketball team this will be his 3rd year. Bryce McDougall, also another football player. Mitchell Neeson came to us from football. We have Caden Robertson and Matt Parr, who have been in the gym with us the entire time. And then finally we have Blaine Locke, who's also coming to us from football. So 4 of them have come from football. So, they're getting into what we're doing right now. Kind of getting out of the football mode into the basketball mode.
How difficult of a transition is that to go from one sport to the next?
Well, the biggest thing for them is the conditioning aspect of it because, basketball is so much different than football, and, we're working really hard to get them in basketball shape right now. And, for the first time, it's not about a 2-week turnaround and we're going to play. We're going to get about 3.5 weeks before we're going to have to play that first game.
Right.
So that's really going to help with our conditioning. Always before, Christmas break has always been a huge time of practice for us because, we haven't had those football players very long. We jump right into playing games and, right off the bat, we're playing some 3-game weeks. I guess we're going to play 2 3-game weeks right off the bat.
Yeah.
So there's really not even time for practice in there.
Right.
And, Christmas practice was always big for us at that time. And it will still be big for us. But, as far as conditioning and catching everybody up,
right.
And now we got a little more time before the season. So, we think that's really going to help us and stuff. And, it's going to make our conditioning better with those kids that have come from football. and things where they're constantly used to the constant movement and things. So, we're looking forward to the start of the season, but we're really, as a coaching staff, looking forward to these next 2.5 weeks of practice.
Absolutely. Coach Hibler with the Pohai basketball team with us now. And speaking of getting on the floor and furthering that conditioning, big scrimmage coming up Friday, Bartlesville. Tell us about this scrimmage.
Well, we go to Bartlesville on Friday. We're actually going to scrimmage tonight against Bishop McGuinness, but it'd be too late for everybody to know about that one with this just coming out today. But, we go to Bartlesville this Friday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That will wrap up the portion of the scrimmage schedule before we just go to straight practice before we play. But, it's always good to go to Bartlesville. I mean, they've got a great basketball tradition, and they have been a traditional rival for years and years. But because of the lay of the land and the conferences and things, we don't get to play them anymore unless we happen to see them in a tournament. But, it's somewhere close that we can go and play 6A competition and see where we're at and see what we need to work on. We had a scrimmage last Thursday against Stillwater, and they exposed a bunch of things that we need to work on. And of course, we knew as a coaching staff that a lot of that stuff was coming because we'd only practiced 4 times before we scrimmaged them, and
right.
We were by no means ready. But it's always good to see where you're at versus another team, the things you need to work on, the things you're going to have to improve on, maybe some changes you need to make in things. And a lot of times it's hard to tell that in practice because you're so familiar with all your players, and all your players are familiar with exactly what you're going to be doing,
right,
and things. So when you can get somebody else in here that doesn't know your out of bounds plays, doesn't know your set plays and things, you can see where your weaknesses fall in those areas and what
right,
you need to correct and work on.
Season opener coming up on December 8th in Hera, opening with the Hera tournament, opening the season. Is that something that is just, what a way to start the season? I mean, you're just right into a tournament. 3 different teams you'll be playing in that tournament.
Well, that'll actually be an 8-team tournament down there
wow.
at Hera. But it's not necessarily what we would prefer, but we had a home and home with Woodward, and they added another school to their conference, so as we lost them, and we couldn't find anybody to fill that date. So we always like to try to play at least once before we go to that tournament, but it just didn't work out this year. So for lack of a better term, we're going to jump right into the frying pan right off the bat,
right,
and things. And we drew the El Reno Indians, who very, very good program.
So it's just luck of the draw who you play first.
Yeah, well, they seed it, and then
Okay.
they kind of go from there. So
Right.
we're going to play the El Reno Indians at 5:30 on Thursday night, and it'll be very nerve-wracking because we're going to have some new kids in the starting lineup. We're going to have some kids playing different roles than they've ever played before, and some different kids off the bench, and sometimes especially those kids that don't have a lot of experience, and some of our underclassmen, our seniors all got a wealth of experience.
Right.
We kind of know what we're going to get from them. But our sophomores and juniors that might possibly play, sometimes they get that deer in the headlight look,
right,
and you just don't know exactly what's going to happen.
Now,
but
that's interesting. It brings up a question. When you take a player that was on JV last year, and now they're getting elevated to the starting lineup, do you sometimes see their game is also elevated just on from a psychological standpoint because they're a starter now?
Well, yeah, they do play better. I mean, the speed of the game at the varsity level compared to the JV level is a whole lot faster, and as a result, it elevates their play. And we're looking forward to that out of some of our young kids as they move up into that level and things. A lot of times it takes a little bit of adjustment time, but for the most part, kids are pretty resilient. They figure it out pretty quickly, and they begin to show things that you really like to see as a coaching staff.
Yeah. Well, it won't be long. Robson Fieldhouse will start getting rowdy. We want you to fill Robson Fieldhouse. bring your family and friends and support the Pohai Wildcat basketball team and Coach Hibler. The Ponca City Festival, December 15th. That is going to be a big Thursday night home opener for the Wildcats, and bringing in other teams too as part of the festival. Tell us about this.
Well, it will be. It's something we really look forward to. It's a really fun weekend for our program and for our coaches and things. That will be the 15th and 16th, right as we butt up to Christmas break. It will be the Ponca City boys and girls team, along with Oklahoma Centennial, which is out of the Oklahoma City area, Life Preparatory Academy out of the Wichita area, and then the Oklahoma City Storm will also bring their boys and girls teams in. We will play both nights. Our girls will actually play at 7 o'clock on Thursday and Friday night. Our boys will actually play at 8:30 on Thursday and Friday night. But, what makes this special, it's right around the time of the holiday season. School is slowing down. There's not a lot of activities going on around the school, so, more people can get out and see it and things. And, it's really special to us because a lot of our alumni comes back for those nights. That they're done from college. Now a lot of kids. I've been here long enough. A lot of kids, they're out of college and they have families of their own
Right.
and things. We don't see those, but the kids that are recent graduates.
Yeah.
Last 5 years and backwards. A lot of times they're home for that weekend as they're getting out of college for Christmas break and things, and they come up, and we always try to do something special, whether it's cookies and punch or whatever, just so we can all kind of hang out and stuff.
It's a reunion.
Yeah, and it's really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good basketball. I mean, the teams that are coming in are very good teams, and it's just fun to watch. It's just wall-to-wall basketball for 2 nights in a row, and get to spend some time with those kids that have graduated and see where they're at in their life and what they're working forward and occasionally we get some alumni back, and they're married and they have their own children, little children that come back, and they're successful. They're out there in the workforce and things, and it's just an awesome time.
Any chance of a future alumni game at this festival?
Well,
Wouldn't that be fun?
We've talked about an alumni game as a fundraiser a lot of times,
Yeah.
and just right now the logistics of it just
Right.
haven't quite fallen into place. But hopefully, something in the future we can get that going.
One of these days might be fun. Mark your calendar, please. The Ponca City Festival, the home opener for the Ponca City Wildcats, Robson Fieldhouse, Thursday, December 15th, and it's going to be big. And before I let you go, Coach Hibler, I got to ask, after this basketball season, some big renovations and some wonderful things happening to a lot of the facilities, and Robson Fieldhouse is on that list. How excited are you about that?
We can't wait. I mean, it's going to be such an upgrade. I mean, everybody's excited about it. We're going to see some new additions in the gym, but also out on the football field with the weight room and things. And just because we're the basketball team, we use the track, we use the weight room, and all of those things. So just super excited. Can't wait to see when it's all finished and done, the finished product and things. But it's going to give our athletes first class facilities to work in and things, and that's what you want. So we're excited about it. Can't wait for the construction to start, actually.
Yeah, no doubt. Coach Hibler, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Coach Alan Hibler, head coach, Pohai Wildcat basketball team. Looking forward to a fantastic season. And throughout the season, we'll have Coach Hibler back right here on Coach's Corner. We'll stay close. In our next segment, we'll visit with head wrestling coach Jason Levitt. That's straight ahead on Coach's Corner.